Coming up on Network Africa. World Health Organization calls for more support to combat Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Uganda and the WHO call on countries to lift Ebola-related travel restrictions. Also, South Africa calls for broader migration dialogue, reiterates stance against Ghana's push for African Union talks on alleged xenophobia attacks. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. I'm Amarachi Ubani. Let's begin with updates on the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, as the World Health Organization calls for more support to combat the outbreak, which continues to outpace response efforts. Reports say the outbreak is the biggest ever to hit the DRC, despite being declared less than 3 months ago. The latest government figures show 3,802 confirmed cases and 1,707 deaths. The outbreak is the largest, concentrated in eastern DRC's remote Ituri province, which accounts for nearly 90% of cases. However, infections have also been confirmed in 5 other provinces. While there are no approved vaccines or treatments, 2 clinical trials for post-exposure drugs are underway in Ituri province, alongside 2 separate vaccine trials in the United Kingdom and in Canada. Staying with the Ebola outbreak in the DRC, Africa's Centers for Disease Control and Prevention does say that the outbreak is spiraling out of control, with more than 1,700 deaths recorded in just 14 weeks and contact tracing failing to contain the virus. During a visit to Bunia, Africa CDC Director General Jean Kaseya said the response is falling short, warning that contact tracing is no longer as effective in containing the outbreak, and that nearly 70% of new infections are emerging outside known contact lists, indicating widespread community transmission and underscoring the need for a new strategy. He calls for innovative approaches to contact tracing, stronger coordination with local communities and frontline health workers, and greater political support. This visit forms part of a monitoring and support mission aimed at strengthening ongoing efforts at containing the outbreak.
And Sunday, I met President Tshisekedi. I committed to come in Bunia with WHO to re-evaluate what is going on, and then to go back to report to him what could be our recommendations on the way to stop this outbreak. We don't like the trajectory of this outbreak, and it's already the 2nd largest outbreak in the world. But if we take a photo after 14 weeks of declaration, it's the biggest outbreak, 7 times more than the West African outbreak. We cannot continue like that.
Now, the case of contact tracing, I'll put it in a different way now. We have to evaluate how far we've gone. Is it the contact or every active case we have to bring aboard? So those are the things which I'm here, DG is here. We're going to sit with our people who are on the front line and look at it.
Meanwhile, Uganda and the World Health Organization are calling on countries to lift Ebola-related travel restrictions after the country officially declared its outbreak over. Speaking at a press conference in Kampala, Health Minister Dr. Chris Bayomunsi demanded that the restrictions be withdrawn, considering Uganda's success in halting local transmission. Similarly, the WHO Regional Director for Africa, Dr. Mohamed Janabi, rejected blanket travel restrictions and border closures, saying Uganda's response offers valuable lessons for strengthening epidemic preparedness and response across the continent. Uganda officially declared the outbreak over on July 28th after completing 42 days without a local transmitted case, following the discharge of the last of such patients on June 16.
So the major concerns as of today are that 1, we need to strengthen the response in the DRC so that we can be able to reverse the transmission and be able to bring it to a halt, because there are now close to 4,000 confirmed cases since they declared the outbreak in May, and about 1,600 deaths have been registered. But working together, we should be able to contain that outbreak.
So let me start by thanking the Ministry of Health and the partners for the successful interruption of the Ebola transmission following an effective national response led by the government of Uganda with the support from local communities and partners. We pay tribute to the frontline health workers, affected communities, scientists, and response teams whose dedication made this achievement very, very possible. You said it correctly, Honorable Minister. While the immediate outbreak has been controlled, continued vigilance remains very essential.
Away from the Ebola crisis, the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity has opened its implementation meeting in Nairobi, Kenya. The technical and implementation reviews mark the final opportunity to prepare for the landmark conference of the parties, COP17, scheduled to take place from October 19 to 30, 2026 in Yerevan, Armenia. Executive Secretary of the Convention on Biological Diversity, Astrid Schomaka, highlighted the importance of the meeting, noting that Africa is home to 25% of the world's biodiversity, while also being among the regions most affected by climate change. The Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework is a landmark international agreement adopted by 196 parties to the Convention on Biological Diversity in December 2022. It serves as a roadmap towards the global vision of living in harmony with nature by 2050.
Biodiversity is maybe not as well understood as climate. Biodiversity is the diversity of all life on Earth, and it underpins our ability to live and thrive on this planet. So thanks to biodiversity, we have food. Biodiversity gives us clean water. It helps us fight climate change. It makes us more resilient. So all of these issues matter to all of us. But biodiversity is also in crisis, and we're facing a challenge because biodiversity loss continues to outpace all the efforts we're making to stop it. So Africa is host of 25% of the world's biodiversity, and of course it is also impacted strongly by climate change. Again, climate change, a main driver for biodiversity loss. So Africa is on the front line of suffering from biodiversity loss. At the same time, Africa is also facing a lot of challenges in terms of having the financial and technological means to fight biodiversity loss. So one of the important decisions or discussions that we will be having here in Nairobi is about resource mobilization. It's about how we can mainstream biodiversity better into decision making, how the financial institutions can be brought to consider biodiversity in their actions, but also what can be done domestically to raise more resources.
At least 4 people have been killed, many others injured in Libya after militia clashes tore through residential neighborhoods, burning homes, damaging shops and riddling vehicles with bullet holes. The fighting reportedly pits against members of the 103 Infantry Battalion, also known as the Al-Sila Battalion, and the Muhand Sawasi Militia. Local media reports that the clashes began in the city of Suruman, prompting local authorities to declare a state of emergency. There are also reports that several inmates escaped from a prison in Suruman during the fighting. Following the bloody night of clashes, the Red Crescent teams launched several rescue operations, including the evacuation of a Sudanese family trapped in the violence. In the meantime, authorities have yet to release a final casualty toll or full details of what triggered the clashes, but local media reports that light weapons, machine guns and medium-caliber weapons were used in residential areas. We're in Sierra Leone now, where emergency teams continue search, rescue and damage assessment operations across Freetown after hours of torrential rain flooded homes and triggered slope collapses across the capital. Across Freetown, 3 people are reportedly killed when a compound wall collapsed in Mechtem community. Local media reports the victims are a 5-year-old girl, her mother, and her grandmother. Meanwhile, Port Dorik Community Chief Mohammed Bangura says blocked drainage infrastructure turned heavy rainfall into a recurring threat. The Natural Disaster Management Agency reports that more than 300 homes have been flooded in Port Dorik Community, displacing hundreds of residents while 2 children are missing. The NDMA has activated its Situation Room and deployed teams to affected areas as search operations and preliminary damage assessments continue. Anti-illegal migration protests in South Africa have sparked a national debate over immigration, law enforcement and border security. However, beyond these issues, there are growing concerns about the economic impact. The protests have disrupted businesses and affected consumer confidence, prompting debate over whether the demonstrations could undermine regional economic integration under the African Continental Free Trade Area. Our correspondent Innocent Samosa spoke to a Nigerian farmer who has experienced the impact firsthand.
Adekele, a Nigerian farmer and recycling entrepreneur based in Pretoria, South Africa. For years, he has supplied fresh produce to local markets and built a business. But the recent anti-illegal migration protests have brought new uncertainty, disrupting business operations and affecting customer activity.
The farming side, for our customers, they obviously have witnessed a reduced market. We have some customers in Cape Town who actually told me they had to close their restaurant for about a week. Also, the market has been slow. I think the morale is also very low. So one way or the other, it definitely has affected our production on the agricultural side.
While the demonstration have largely focused on immigration, DG says the economic impact is also being felt by entrepreneurs like him.
Oh, certainly. Our production had to slow down because of this. We were also a bit lucky because this is a winter period, so usually businesses, this is like our off season, so it wasn't too bad. But obviously this has affected a lot of businesses, has affected a lot of our buyers.
His colleague Munya Jan van Reinsberg argues that migration is economically vital to South Africa, saying immigrants are not a burden but a net asset to the country's economy.
This is people that's really willing to work hard. They've got effort, they've got energy, they're strong, they not have nitty-gritties. If you give them a work, they will always show you they can do it better. They never come with an issue, they don't come with excuses, they work really, really hard. Foreigners in South Africa is making it worthwhile when it comes to your business.
She says South Africans can learn a lot from migrants.
Yes, 100%. I'm myself as a South African, and if I can see between the South African workers, between the foreigner workers, I can say that the foreigners has really got something to teach the South Africans where it comes to work.
Migration remains one of Africa's most pressing challenges, with thousands of people leaving their home countries each year in search of safety, opportunity, and a better future. While migration is often, of course, viewed as a crisis, some commentators argue the focus now should shift towards addressing its root causes and create safe, legal, and orderly pathways for people on the move. From Pretoria, South Africa, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television News.
Saying in South Africa, the government has reiterated its stance against Ghana to have the African Union discuss the alleged xenophobia attacks. Briefing the media on international relations and the ongoing migration crisis, the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamola said the need for a broader migration dialogue across the continent has become urgent. Lamola stressed that the matter cannot be handled bilaterally alone. Instead, it needs a more broader discussion.
Following a decision by the 49th Ordinary Session of the African Union Executive Council not to discuss migration at the upcoming AU midterm review meeting, South Africa reaffirms its support for the long-standing decision of the AU to convene a continent-wide conference on migration. The 25th AU Assembly, which was held in Johannesburg in 2015, called for an African migration conference to consider approaches to accelerate mobility and development within the continent, while addressing the challenges posed by increased irregular migration and strengthening capacity to manage migration inflows. South Africa supports the implementation of this decision. South Africa believes that a continent-wide convening on migration must take a holistic view. It must consider migration's relationship with peace and stability, economic development, regional integration, and democratic governance. It must also provide a space for member states to discuss the root causes of anti-migration sentiments and develop a collective continental approach to preventing violence, discrimination, xenophobia, and other forms of intolerance. The need for this dialogue has become increasingly urgent. Migration is a continental phenomenon.
We're off for a short break now. Network Africa is still ahead. They did not play at the World Cup. They danced at the World Cup instead. Talking about the Ugandan Ghetto Kids who returned home to somewhat of a hero's welcome following their debut with music stars Shakira and Burna Boy in the United States. Nigeria is pledging to safeguard Africa's heritage through documentary storytelling. The Minister of Arts, Culture, Tourism and the Creative Economy, Ms. Hannatu Musawa, made the call during the launch of Heritage in Motion, an initiative of the African International Documentary Festival Foundation in Abuja. Ms. Musawa emphasized the need for stronger partnerships to preserve Africa's cultural identity while creating new opportunities through documentary storytelling and creative innovation.
This is not government's work alone. You are joined today by several implementing partners spanning government, multinational institutions, academia, traditional authorities, media, and the private sector. I invite every partner in this room, confirmed and prospective, to see Heritage in Motion, not as an event, but as an opportunity to align with Agenda 2063, with the AfCFTA Creative Trade Agenda, and with a continent ready to tell its own story to the world, ready to take ownership of who we are, to define itself. Heritage in Motion is more than a program. It is a statement that Africa's heritage will not simply be preserved for archives, but carried forward in motion by the very people that it belongs to.
And in bilateral relations, Nigeria's Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says the federal government is creating an enabling environment to attract foreign investment and unlock its vast economic potential. He was speaking at the Nigeria-Saudi Investment and Tourism Exhibition hosted by the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission in Abuja. Mr. Idris says ongoing economic reforms by the federal government are positioning the country as a preferred destination for investors, adding that Nigeria is now a choice investment destination with immense opportunities across key sectors. The minister notes that the strengthening strategic partnerships such as that with Saudi Arabia will accelerate economic growth, boost tourism, and deliver sustainable development.
Across the world, Nigerians are making remarkable contributions in business, in healthcare, in technology, education, and also in public service. Their achievements continue to strengthen Nigeria's global reputation and open new doors for economic cooperation. The specific Nigeria-Saudi relationship has continued to grow in recent years. Beyond our long-standing religious and cultural ties, both countries are expanding our cooperation in trade, in investment, in energy, in agriculture, mining, aviation, tourism, etc. Earlier this year, Nigeria reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening institutional collaboration with Saudi Arabia across key sectors, while both countries continue to explore new opportunities for economic partnership. The theme of this summit, the misconceptions, challenges, and opportunities of investing in Saudi Arabia and Nigeria today, is both relevant and timely. Every investment destination has its challenges, but successful investors look beyond perceptions to identify real opportunities. That is precisely why platforms such as this one are indeed valuable. They bring governments, businesses, and investors together to exchange accurate information, build confidence, and create the right partnerships that deliver tangible results.
Commissioner to Sierra Leone, Ambassador Ayo Luther Bomode, has attended the opening ceremony of the Made in Nigeria Chamber of Commerce Trade Fair in Freetown. The event was officially declared open by Sierra Leone's Minister of Trade and Industry, Alpha Cisse, who highlighted the shared commitment of both countries to promoting trade, investment, and private sector development. The trade fair provides a platform to showcase Nigerian products and services, foster commercial partnerships, and strengthen economic and bilateral ties between Nigeria and Sierra Leone. Now, hundreds of Ugandans have turned out in Kampala to welcome home and celebrate the Ghetto Kids after the young dancers made history by performing at the 2026 FIFA World Cup final halftime show alongside global music stars Shakira and Burna Boy. Founder of the group, Dauda Kavuma, says the global exposure will create lasting opportunities for the children, adding that the group founded to support youngsters from Kampala's disadvantaged communities. The Ghetto Kids have grown into one of Uganda's best-known dance groups. The Ghetto Kids first featured in the official music video for Shakira and Burna Boy's FIFA World Cup anthem, Die Die, before joining Shakira on stage for the 2026 FIFA World Cup final halftime show.
It was a dream come true because that was our first time to dance at the FIFA World Cup finals, and we are really good to dance with Shakira at the FIFA World Cup. And it felt good to dance with Shakira at the FIFA World Cup because we are the first Ugandans to perform at the FIFA World Cup.
It's really a big inspiration, no? That the Ghetto Kids are young, they are underage. It shows that never lose hope, never give up. No matter which situation you are in, no matter which family you are grown up in, you can make it to the entire world. So, kids over there, just believe in yourself, good big kids, love your talent. Always God is there for you.
It will change their lives because it opens a lot of doors for these children. There are very many, there were billions of people who are watching. So they were among those people who are watching, there were musicians, there were artists, there were film actors. So there were a lot of people. So it opens a lot of chances for these children.
And finally, in Kenya, young acrobats are turning red lights into stage lights at the Nairobi business intersections, performing daring routines to earn a living as job opportunities remain limited. The performers flip, juggle, and form human pyramids between lanes of traffic before weaving through waiting vehicles to collect donations from motorists. For the group, each performance is both a source of income and an opportunity to build a better future. In a city known for its traffic jams, these young performers have transformed delays into opportunity, earning anywhere from $4 on a slow day to $100 on a good one. They continue to show that talent, resilience, and determination can thrive even at a red light.
doing these acrobatics in theaters and in hotels. But then when COVID came, it was not possible to do an event in a place where people are closed inside. So that's when the idea of doing street performance came up. When we come here, at least at the end of the day, you get something that can sustain you for either for tomorrow or majua. So because we have families also, and our families also depend on what we get. So, and also here is like an office, because people come and then they say, oh, we like what you guys are doing. Can you come to our event this day at this certain place? So it's also a very good place for marketing ourselves also.
Sometimes we come here to perform, maybe there is a rainy season, we can't perform during rainy season. Sometimes we come here, we can't perform because there is no traffic lights. You see, so I will go, if I get another job, I'll go and work for it. The biggest risk is cars and motorbikes, because you need to be very, very sharp, because there are some drivers, they are not keen. Some, they are drunkard, you see. So it's really dangerous, but we do it just like that.
Anything to make a buck. And as we have the program, here's our fun fact for Wednesday. Did you know that Uganda, East Africa's landlocked country, is renowned for its lush landscapes? Nicknamed the Pearl of Africa by Winston Churchill, it's the home to about half of the world's remaining mountain gorillas. It's also home to Lake Victoria, Africa's largest freshwater lake, and hosts the source of the Nile River in Jinja. And that's Network Africa today. Thanks for watching. I'm Amarachi. Bye.